next strength lift we'll show you is the clean lift RDL. You will start this lift by getting your feet at hip width. You want to have flat feet. You want to keep that weight back through your heels. Go ahead and get yourself set. Use your hook grip on the bar where you tuck your thumbs in underneath your middle and index finger. You're going to sit your butt down to a point where your hips are slightly above your knees, and you want to have your shoulders slightly above your hips. You want to be able to maintain that position as you pull this bar from the floor, just like you did when we talked about the power clean from the floor. Okay, as I initiate the pull from the floor, I'm going to get that weight back through my heels and pull through flat feet, using my legs and my butt to pull the bar. Keep that chest up as you pull. Get all the way to the top. At this point, I'm going to go into my RDL. When we do an RDL, okay, I'm going to initiate the movement by sticking my butt back. Okay, almost as if I'm starting to sit back in a chair. The weight goes back through my heels. I'm going to keep a big chest, and I'm going to lower that bar down, shaving my legs all the way down to the floor. There's a slight bend in my knee as I lower it, and I'm going to keep that bar in nice and tight, shave my shins, press my butt out, my chest out, and finish with that flat back all the way down to the floor. Okay, I'll go back through the movement at full speed so you can see it. Start off, get yourself set, weight through the heels, pull it all the way up to the top, get yourself set for the RDL, sit back in that chair through flat feet, keep the weight back through the heels, butt out, chest out, knees slightly bent, all the way down to the floor. Really work hard to keep that flat back position so when you get to the bottom, you're not rounding it off. That's your clean lift RDL.
Our next exercise is a single leg RDL. With this exercise, you'll be on one leg, you'll have a flat foot. To start the movement, you'll have a slight bend in your knee, and you're driving your butt backwards. As that slight bend in your knee occurs, the knee will not bend again until the lift is finished. Your arms will hang out in front of you, reaching slightly out ahead as you begin the downward movement. As you begin the downward movement, you want to make sure that your hips stay square to the ground and your shoulders stay square to the ground. You don't want to open your hips up and rotate over. So as you're beginning that downward movement, slight bend in my knee occurs. My butt is driving backwards. My arms are reaching slightly out. I'm making sure that my hips stay square, my shoulders are square, I have a nice flat back, and then come back up. Each athlete will be able to reach further down and further down. Some athletes may not be able to reach down quite as far. So again, slight bend in the knee, butt drives back, flat back, reaching out in front, and driving back up. You should feel this through your hamstring and glutes. As you become more comfortable with the exercise, you can add weight, resistance to the exercise. Still the same movement, your arms just hang out in front. This will require more force to be generating your hamstring and glute to pull yourself back up. Same movement, slight bend in your knee, flat foot, flat back, driving your butt backwards, keeping your hips square to the ground, and driving back up. The next strength lift that we will cover is the pistol squat. With the pistol squat, you will be on one leg. In this case, I'm going to be on my right leg. Okay? You want to have your leg directly under your hip with a flat foot. As you begin the downward movement of this exercise, you want to have the weight going through your heel, primarily through your heel. As you begin to sit your butt back into that chair that we've talked about previously in the squats, then bending at the knee. You still want to maintain a tall chest and a tight core. You want to avoid rounding at the back as you lower down. You can do so by keeping that core in tight. As you begin to lift the exercise, you will start your downward movement. Your butt goes back. You start to bend at the knee, flat foot, tall chest, tight core, flat back. Then you want to begin to drive back up through your flat foot, reaching your top position. Again, if you struggle with this the first time through, you can also use assistance by a partner or find something to hang on to. With this here, I'm hanging on to the rack. Again, you can maintain the same posture, flat foot, tall chest, tight core, and a flat back as you lower down in. You're still going to sit back into your chair, bending at the knee, flat foot. Again, you're just using this for balance. You'll sit down in, drive back up, down in, and drive back up. The next strength lift that we will cover is the Bulgarian split squat. With this squat, you will get into a split-legged position. You will place one leg back onto a bench. Okay, you just want to have the upper part of your foot onto that bench. You don't want to have your entire foot or leg onto the bench. It won't allow you to squat back in there. So just the upper front part of your foot. You then want to jump your front leg out ahead. So when you squat down in there, you're going to make a 90-degree angle with your front leg. And you can see the nice 90-degree angle made by your upper thigh and your lower leg. Throughout this movement, you want to have a flat front foot. Your back leg will drive down and backwards at a 45-degree angle. Throughout the movement, you will push your butt backwards, keeping a tall chest. As you go down through this movement, you should feel this in your quad on the back leg and your hamstring on your front leg. So without weight, without the bar, you'll get set, jump that front leg out there into a position that will allow you to get into a 90-degree angle, drive that back knee down, making that 90-degree angle, feeling that in your hamstring in the front leg, quad in the back leg, and you'll drive straight up. With the bar, you'll place it just as if you would if you were going to do a back squat. Again, you'll place your back foot onto the bench, jump that front leg out there, squat down and back, tall chest, pushing your butt backwards, and driving straight back up.
The next strength exercise we'll show you is the glute ham. Okay, you want to get yourself set in the glute ham machine. All right, from the start position, you will lower your upper body down slowly to get eccentric activation of the glutes and the hamstrings. As you get all the way down to the bottom, you're going to let yourself relax. At that point, you will do a back extension to get yourself up to a point where your chest is parallel with the floor. At that time, you're going to pull with your glutes and your hamstrings and activate the glutes and hams to pull yourself up to the top, to the start position. Okay, so I'll go through the movement here in the machine. So I'm going to get myself set. At the top, I want to lower myself slowly. On the way down to get that eccentric activation. As I get to the bottom, I'm going to let myself relax. I will now do a back extension and pull the rest of the way up with my glutes and hamstrings. The next strength exercise we'll cover is the manual glute ham. This can be used as an alternative to the glute ham machine if you do not have one available. You will need a partner for this exercise. You'll want to get yourself set up either on the floor or on a bench. You'll be down on your stomach. You'll want to have your chest up off the bench slightly. Okay? Get your legs up into a position where your heels are up towards your butt.
Like Coach Winter just said, this exercise is done with a partner. As a partner, you want to place your hands on the back of the athlete's heels. You're then going to pull the athlete's heels down towards the ground as he eccentrically activates the hamstring, resisting against your pull towards the ground. Once the athlete has reached the point where the legs are straight, the athlete will then contract and pull back towards his butt. You're resisting his pull on the way back. Make sure that the athlete pulls the heels all the way back towards the butt at the end of the exercise. Then repeat. Additionally to the single rep, you can do a 5 count or a 10 count manual glute ham, where you count out loud as you pull down, the partner resists you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same thing happens when the athlete concentrically activates the hamstrings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to make sure that the athlete then finishes with the heels up towards the butt. You can then again do this for 10-second count as well.
Be sure as you go through the range of motion, as the athlete performing the exercise, that you press your hips into the bench or into the floor the entire time. You do not want your hips to come up off the bench or off the floor. That's the manual glute ham exercise.